Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's topic, I'll be telling you some of those weird things or fascinating things that are occurring as soon as you are about to start having your menstrual flow or your menstrual period. So I'll just be listing some of them here. I know the most common one is menstrual flow diarrhea or the menstrual pulp that you usually experience. So in today's topic, I'll be telling you all those things, those weird and fascinating things that are usually occurring just before your menstrual flow or during the period of your menstrual flow. So keep watching. If this is your first time watching me, my name is Nay Yvonne and I'm so happy to have you here, guys. So let's go. Yes, welcome back everyone. So normally we all know the menstrual period comes with a lot of other kind of crises, like for example, for some women they'll be experiencing breast tenderness, some will be feeling nauseous, some will be feeling very weak, some will be feeling bloated, and a lot of other symptoms. But that is not just limited. The first I'll be talking about in this topic will be menstrual diarrhea, or that's menstrual pulp. So during that period you kind of develop like running stomach, you feel like you want to use the washroom, or when you go to the washroom your poop it's kind of watery, or you visit the washroom more frequently within that period. So but it's usually kind of discomfort for many people because they always experience that just within that period when their menstrual flow is about to start, or when actually the menstrual flow it's already flowing. So I'm going to be telling you like what is the cause, why you are experiencing that. But this particular menstrual pulp that many people usually experience, some people will not really have that kind of feeling, some people are not going to experience that, but meanwhile others will be experiencing the symptoms. So if you are someone that you haven't experienced that, then definitely you are lucky. But majority of people during that menstrual flow period, they tend to have watery stool. Their stool becomes inconsistency, they go to the washroom a lot and just pass out the stool like that. This is usually as a result of a hormone that is produced in the uterus, which is known as prostaglandin. So the effect of this hormone during your menstrual flow is to helps to constrict your uterus. So when your uterus is being constricted, it's like it's trying to shed the lining of your uterus. So you know what is flowing out definitely is the lining of your uterus that has been shedded as a result of the fact that implantation has not taken place. So when implantation has not taken place, the wall, the lining of that your womb, which is known as the uterus, has to be shedded. So when it's being shedded, it will flow out now in the form of blood. So that's usually the cause. So this hormone known as prostaglandin, it's being released in the uterus. So when it's released now, it causes the wall now of the uterus to twist, that's constrict together. As it's constrict together now, the lining of the uterus can shed out. So when that happens now, it flows. But there is also something that this hormone known as prostaglandin usually cause. It will also affect your bowels, that's your digestive tract. It will also constrict your digestive tract, making the food and anything that is inside, whether water, food, to squeeze out and come out. So that's the reason why during that period you keep running to the washroom to pass out, or maybe the consistency of your stool is going to change and become more watery during that period. This is just the reason, this is always as an effect of that hormone, which is known as prostaglandin, that is released within that period of your menstrual flow. So the effect of it will also be extended to your bowels, that will also causes it to constrict, causing the food and everything that is there to pass out more easily. So one thing I would say is that during that period, how can you limit this kind of, like, how can you reduce the effect or limit the effect if you are experiencing this a lot? One thing you should do is that you can easily go for some medications. For example, like ibuprofen, you can take it just before your menstrual flow or within your menstrual flow. It's going to reduce that constriction effect which is caused as a result of this hormone prostaglandin. So the constriction of your uterus will not be too hard, so definitely you are not going to feel the pain, and maybe the effect towards your bowels will not be really that intense. So definitely if the effect towards your bowels is not that intense, definitely you are not going to have running stomach. Another thing also you can do is that during that period you can limit the kind of food you are eating. Avoid taking laxative, because you know laxative naturally naturally they helps to make your poop softer. So if you are taking them during that period, it's going to increase your running stomach within that period. So if you're someone who usually take laxative because of constipation, during that period you have to limit that. So make sure also you don't take caffeine, because caffeine, most of the times caffeine has this component of laxative in it, so you also help to soften your stool. So during that period you need to be you have to pay attention towards the kind of food you eat. You can mostly go for vegetable, healthy diet, avoid too much concentrated carb food, because or any other spicy food that is going to upset your stomach, or maybe appetizers, sweeteners, all of those things. Any food that you think is going to upset your stomach during that period, you have to limit. Then you can also take some medications that is going to limit this diarrhea during your menstrual period. And the last thing I'll also say is that you can also take some contraceptive. There are some contraceptive pills that are going to help you also, like reduce the pain and reduce also this diarrhea during that period. So those are the things you can take in order to reduce that first effect, which is diarrhea or poop during your menstrual flow. The next point I'll be talking about here is the fact that you have clumps of blood coming out from your vagina. So this is usually awkward, and at times it comes in a big lump. It might be kind of reddish, brownish, and at times it's even dark. So we tend to have a lot of these kind of weird things that are happening, but don't worry, they are just natural things that are happening. So but if in case, let me say, the lump or the clump that is coming out, it's so large, like maybe it's more than 2.5 centimeters, that should call for an alarm. You need to visit your doctor and check if everything is okay with you, or if during that period your menstrual flow is very intense, you also need to see your doctor during that period. The next fascinating or weird thing that we'll be saying that usually happens during this period is that just before you have your menstrual period, you might start feeling maybe vaginal itches, or maybe feeling uncomfortable down there, or maybe during that period of your menstrual flow you might be having some of this kind of irritation, itching down there. So this is usually as a result of the fact that your menstrual flow, the acidity of your menstrual flow, it's more neutral as compared to the normal pH of your vagina. Normally the pH of the vagina is within 3.4 to maybe 4.5. So during your menstrual flow now, the blood itself, it's more neutral. It's around 7.5, so it's making the vagina state more neutral. So you know, normally there are natural bacteria and yeasts that are living in your vagina. So during that period, when the natural condition of their habitat have been changed, like from acidity making it more neutral, they tend to grow better. So they would tend to then seize this opportunity and grow more. So when they tend to grow more, now what happens is that you'll be having this kind of irritation. If in case it's the bacteria that grows more, you will lead to bacterial vaginosis. And for example, if it's the yeast, which is the Candida albicans, that grow more, it's going to lead to yeast infection. So these are the kind of irritations that you feel, but it's just something normal. But mostly when definitely your flow is done and it's finished, your vaginal acidity is going to return back to normal. And when that happens, it makes it uncomfortable back for the growth of these bacteria and yeast cells. So when that happens, they will go back to their normal state. That's why immediately after your menstrual period, maybe if you were experiencing vaginal itches or some discomfort down there, things are going to go back to normal. This is just because your vaginal pH has returned back to normal, making it uncomfortable now for these natural bacteria and yeast cells that are there to grow. So when they cannot grow, they will stay back. That means they are being maintained within their normal pH. But as soon as your menstrual flow is resuming, the flow is going to alter the acidity of your vagina, making it more neutral. And when it's neutral, that's when it favors now the growth of these normal bacteria that are living there in your vagina. So that's why most of the times within this period you tend to have maybe these itches or discomfort or some kind of irritation. But don't worry, it's just something that is normal for some people. The next point I'll be talking about is period pain. So most of the times during that period, or just before your period starts, or maybe within your period, you start having this period pain or cramps, and your back, maybe your stomach, it's really painful. So that is just as a result of the fact that as your uterus lining is shredding and the hormonal changes that are taking place in your stomach, it's causing all of these things to be happening. So you can either relieve this by taking some medications, for example like ibuprofen or any other painkiller. So but if it's really intense, that's when you have to see your medical doctor to see how this problem can be resolved, or for your medical doctor to better check what can be the cause, or maybe give you some medications that will help you reduce this pain. The last and most weird things that usually happen within this period of menstrual flow is increase in sex drive in women. Normally for some people during their ovulation, as the estrogen is very high and about to start dropping, they tend to have an increase in their libido, things like that. But for some other people, when it's about time for their menstrual flow, that is instead when they start experiencing an increase in sex drive. So but for some people, they will not really notice this. If you are kind of stressed, if you're depressed, or maybe you are having some of underlying medical condition, you might not experience this. But for some people within this time, they tend to have a high sex drive. This is just as a result of hormonal changes that are occurring within you, and the fact that your estrogen is starting to rise up, and at that point your progesterone also is low. So this is just as a result of normal hormonal changes that are occurring. So these are the things that you mostly experience as soon as your period is about to start, or within the period when your period is flowing. So these are the normal common symptoms you are going to experience. Regarding the first point I mentioned, which is the period poop, or maybe the diarrhea you experience just before your menstrual flow starts, there are some remedies that can help you relieve some of these symptoms, especially the one for menstrual poop. What you can do is that, you know, when you are having diarrhea, you need to be hydrated. So the first thing that you can do to help relieve this is for you to stay hydrated. You need to drink a lot of water. Drinking a lot of water will keep you hydrated, since as during that period you tend to lose a lot of water as you are running to the washroom to pass out poop, and also the poop is very watery, so you are losing a lot of water during that period. So the first important thing you have to do is to make sure you are hydrated by drinking a lot of water. The second thing you can do is to take some medications. There are medications like ibuprofen that are going to help you reduce the pain or the contraction that is occurring just before your menstrual flow period. You need to stay away from laxative. You are not supposed to take any laxative, because the function of laxative is to soften your poop. So if you go and take laxative meanwhile you already have a running stomach or you have diarrhea, it's going to worsen everything. The next thing you have to take note is the kind of food you are eating. So you make sure you eat food that will not like provoke you or make you to have a running stomach. So for example, you can go for vegetable, fruit. Avoid spicy food, avoid junk food that you think might cause stomach upset. So those are the things. Try to avoid most of those things within that period. It's going to help you reduce this period poop. So all of these things are really going to help you improve your poop during the period of your menstrual flow. Another thing you can do also, some doctors will recommend that you take some contraceptive pills, but this one is always advisable for you to meet first your doctor. Let your doctor be the one to tell you like this is what you are supposed to take. And if any of the condition persists or it goes too far or it's very abnormal, you need to check with your doctor. Your doctor will be the one to tell you what to do better. So these are the things these are the weird and fascinating things. So apart from breast tenderness, apart from the fact that you're feeling nauseous, apart from all other these signs, these are some of the signs that you should be experiencing when you are about seeing your period or when your period is flowing. And these are the things that you can do to help remedy or help reduce some of these symptoms. Okay, if you have been watching up to this point without clicking the like button or clicking the subscription button, please kindly click like, subscribe, and don't also forget to share this video because it can equally help someone out there. Love you all, and please do stay safe.